Hi there, it is Quinn for the Win, your self-love coach, and I am here to discuss about what happened last night between me and the pineapple, me and Happy, me and my life partner, to highlight why it is so vital, necessary, super beneficial to have people who are involved in a relationship, any kind of relationship, to have self-love, and how it can really enhance your experience and really break patterns from relationships that you've had that did not last or ended up in a lot of fiery situations or ended up in, a big blow up and there's like no closure. I'm speaking from experience. So yeah, and I want to compare it to that and share you some reasons why it is so vital to have both parties have self-love. Well, one, I'll give you an example. Me and my partner got into it last night. There was a misunderstanding between text messages, and it involved in me picking him up because he was out drinking, having fun with a buddy that he just went cycling with. And and let's just say there was some fiery moments. I definitely got triggered, and how the night still maintain his energy. Yes, there were moments of where he spoke very firmly, and passionately about where he was coming from. And then same thing with me. I will say that the night ended up fine. I definitely still felt a certain way in the morning. There was still some sadness just about the whole event last night and how we got together less than 24 hours to be fine where we were at before and no more tension. So when this whole miscommunication, where it had him, there was text messages exchange where it's like, you know what, forget it, don't pick me up, that kind of stuff. And easily that kind of communication to me triggers me because there's so many times in the past where things went wrong and we're unable to talk, discuss, smooth things out. And I was usually asked to go home, being X'd out, and I would be in tears all the time. I would be so hurt and I would really fall into victimhood and just be crying and miserable, and it would just drag on the whole night. For those of you who've been in this scenario before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so instead of things going that way, immediately when I felt the pain coming on from these text messages that was like going back and forth with ourselves, to each other, I knew that I needed to go to my self-love practice. And for me, a lot of the times today is a voice recording, because I could just hit that recording button, release, express what I need to express, and process. I ask the usual questions of identifying what emotions are coming up, asking myself, where have I felt this way in the past? And then having a takeaway and a lesson from it. So why it's so necessary to practice self-love or have self-love on both parties, because for me, I was able to see what I got to take ownership and responsibility for. A lot of times our egos get involved and we want to be right. We don't want to admit to anything or any wrong that we did in a certain situation. We want to be heard. We want to be right. We just ignore any points of taking responsibility. And so the self-love allows you to do that. So I was seeing it and I felt so much better, because when you own it and when you see an opportunity to own it, you feel ultimately good about yourself. So I messaged him, my apologies, you know what? You do what you need to do. Let me know when you need to get picked up, because I wanted to pick him up early. And I was recognizing that I wanted to pick him up at a certain time my way because of my worriness, and I was being selfish of how I wanted to have an early night, right? It was all for me. And so I eventually picked him up. You know, things were able to be smoothed out because he was like, don't pick me up anymore. And so I picked him up. We discussed, there was some passionate moments, and we were able to see where the miscommunication was from and how we took things in from the vibes of the text wrong. And so the next morning, I still felt a certain way. I knew that I would be okay. Again, more self-love. I knew that I needed my own space. So I got up, got back to my own flow. That makes me feel good. I voice recorded on the way to a coffee shop to get my work done that I'm committed to doing to feel better about my life and my everyday commitments. And he sends a text message saying that he is apologizing, and, you know, eventually met up with me, and we were fine. We were even able to joke about it. And so this is an experience that would have not been possible if we were both not on our own self-love journey, having enough space, knowing what we need to do to create space to really process and own our shit, own what we did wrong or that was hurtful in the relationship, and come back together. This is what's missing in so many relationships. Somebody always gets their ego in the way, or both parties do, and nobody wins. It doesn't feel resolved, and you are building up resentment towards each other, and then you end up leaving each other. So that is my share for this video of, again, processing triggers and why it is so vital to have self-love in both parties when growing a relationship with ourselves and with each other. So let me know if you have any questions. So curious to know what you got from this, what you learned from this, if you have any questions about this. And of course, if you need support on your own self-love and to help you process fires and tension that's going on in your life, whether it's with a family member, your significant other, your friends, your coworkers, anyone, I am here to support you in that. So thank you for listening, and I will talk to you later. Bye.